We're at episode number 10 with Sitesh Patel. I've hoped that you've watched all of the earlier episodes. I also hope that you've gone through the lesson plans that accompany these videos, because our commitment is to help people who are in prison succeed, even though it may feel like they're failing now. They can learn a lot from Sitesh's book, just like I have learned a lot. And I just want to start off by thanking you, Sitesh, for taking time out of your busy schedule when you've only got a couple of weeks before you surrender to prison, but you've taken the time to come to my home, talk with me about business development. And I really want to close out by asking you a question, and that is, after you've gone through 2 criminal proceedings, 1 prison sentence behind you, 1 prison sentence awaiting you, as you look back, tell us what you would have liked, what you've learned from this process, and if you would have done anything differently, what would that have been?
Well, I could definitely say I've learned a lot through this process. I would have never known what wire fraud was or mail fraud was. You know, these are all new things I learned, or how sentencing guidelines work, or restitution. No one learns about this in school. You know, you're not taught this unless you're going to law school. And as you know, neither of us are lawyers. So the real question is, like...
I'm not a lawyer, but I play one on TV.
Yeah, same here. So the real question ends up is, what do I wish that I would have known differently, or I wish I would have learned differently or done differently? And I wish I would have known about all this 5 years ago, or 5 years before I even started working. You know, I wish I would have learned about all this when I was in pharmacy school, or even entering the workplace, on what white-collar crimes really even are. How does one commit a white-collar crime? I didn't know. And unfortunately, it's not till it's too late that you start to learn about exactly what wire fraud is, or mail fraud is, and how it gets committed. And it's just one of those things where I wish, you know, I would have had some sense of knowledge beforehand. So when I was working and making decisions, I could have thought about these things at that point. I mean, Michael, you've dealt with a lot of defendants. You've seen yourself, like, you know, I mean, what have you would have done differently, right?
So one of the things that I've learned, I mean, certainly there's a difference between you and me, Sitesh. And the big difference is that I knew that I broke the law. I knew that I was selling cocaine, and I knew that it was against the law to sell cocaine. And the sad thing is I didn't act responsibly as a young man. I lived kind of a reckless life when I was 20 years old, and those bad decisions had ramifications and consequences. When I meet people like you, I have a lot of empathy, because I know that you're coming into a system that is designed to keep people inside, and not only to keep you coming in, but if you were to have children, it wants your children as well. I mean, this system is designed to receive, and it's very difficult to get out of the web. So I am a believer that we should teach more people about white-collar crime. In fact, I believe in it so much that I've built a business around it, hiring formerly incarcerated people who become subject matter experts that would go into a company like yours and do a risk assessment of a company like yours and say, hey, here are some red flags that we see, because our eyes are open, just like your eyes are open right now. Like a pharmaceutical company or a food company or a drug company would really be penny wise, perhaps, and pound foolish, as the cliche holds, by not bringing a subject matter expert like you in. You've got, well, let me ask you, what did this cost you?
Oh, God, this was in the millions. So we think about not just the cost for lawyers. We think about how much business was lost because of it. We think about how much money you had to spend trying to rebuild everything that was lost, and just the loss of your own livelihood. I mean, I don't think there's even a price tag that I could put on it.
Well, I think the millions might be a start, and I think that you could definitely probably go to close to 10 million or better when you think in terms of fines and legal fees and money away from your business. You're a business that was doing $30 million a year in revenues. If you're out fighting a case, if you're not fighting a case, you're probably doing $100 million in revenues right now, because you grew it so quickly.
Yep.
But here, your concentration has to be on the case. So that expenditure that you've made is like an investment. It's an investment in an education. And if I haven't been targeted by the government, if I haven't been charged, I should be listening and learning from Sitesh, not only in Succeed by Failing, which you wrote specifically to help people in jail and prison, but they should also be talking with you about what can I do to lower the risk levels of the government ever putting a note on my door indicating they want to talk to me about a grand jury.
Absolutely.
Those are the real valuable lessons that we can only learn from people who've gone through it. There's an old Chinese proverb, Sitesh, that says, if you want to know the road ahead, ask somebody who has walked back.
That's true. Yep.
And you and I are friends today and talking today because you reached out and we've been working together for several years. And I'm glad to have been a part of your team and helping you grow stronger. But it's my hopes that when this all ends for you, you will join us and join our team as a subject matter expert specifically for FDA matters, food companies, drug companies, cosmetic companies, or anybody that's in an area where you're a subject matter expert. And I'm going to give you a task. I'm going to give you some challenges. Okay. Are you up for them?
I'm all up for it.
So we've been working on SateshPatel.com. I don't want it to end here just before you go in. I want you to spend some time while you're in prison documenting your journey.
Okay.
Start building a curriculum now that will really populate that site so that when you come home, you have got a real body of work that will help you recalibrate, rebuild, bring value to society. That's something that very few people do when they're going into the system, but it's something I know that you can do. And if you do that, I think you're going to really ease the transition when you come back to society.
Yeah, Michael, I really appreciate that, and I absolutely 100% want to do that.
So we'll be encouraging people to visit SateshPatel.com. And there's one other thing that I'm going to ask you to do, and that's let me come out to your business and let's do a tour around the factory or the manufacturing plant and kind of show what your hard work built. And we can talk a little bit more about what we could do or what other business people could do to protect themselves from going through the really onerous investigation that has complicated life for you and your family and all the stakeholders in your organization.
Yeah, Michael, my doors are open for you. And especially knowing that we can help other people see exactly what we built, at the same time learn exactly what I went through and how I would have done differently. 100%, I'm open to that.
Excellent. So that's our passion here at Prison Professors, is to help guys like you who are locked inside of jails and prison. I'm so grateful to Sitesh for being a sponsor of Prison Professors, providing us with his intellectual property so that we could use to teach and inspire more people. And I want to thank him also for allowing our team at Compliance Mitigation to go out there and take a tour of his business. And when you come back, it's my hope that you'll join our organization so that we can work to be the change that we want to see in the world.
Yep. I look forward to that.
Awesome. Thanks again, and hope that you're finding value in this work. Make sure that you go through the entire course, Succeed by Failing. And if you're watching this outside, visit SateshPatel.com.